There are a lot of different ways that you can make money with a WordPress blog online. One of those is to offer a directory service. And that could be anything from real estate listings. It could be reviews of local businesses. Could be your own classified ads. Today, we're going to take a look at a WordPress plugin. It's called Directorist. It's been around for a few years. And I think this might be of interest to you, particularly if you're working in a local environment and trying to serve local customers. Hi, my name is William Beam. I'm with Suburbia Press, and we try to help online entrepreneurs understand the technology available to them. So this is one of those examples. We're going to take a look at a plugin called Directorist. So let's take a look at my screen here. And you can see that, they start off saying the world's most complete WordPress directory plugin. It is a very nice and very detailed plugin. There's a lot of options inside. Today, we're just going to kind of take an overview look at it to introduce this plugin to you. I plan to follow up with some other videos that'll dive deeper into some of the other topics. But the idea of what you can build, if you take a look down here, you can see a local business directory, restaurants, services, events, hotel and apartment directory, real estate, classified listings. There's a whole lot of things that you can do with this. So if you're working on a website for a local environment, which I have a website just like that, this is something that would really kind of fit with what I want to do. You can get directory services. And also this is an opportunity not just to have people come and visit your site, but also to sell listings to people and make revenue that way. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it's like to install Directorist and get it configured. Okay, I'm on my demo site. And as you can see here in the add plugins, I've chosen the file directorist.zip. We're going to go ahead and click install now. So far, this is going to be like any other plugin installation that you do. It'll upload it. It'll ask you to activate your plugin. The nice thing about Directorist is that it comes up with a bit of a wizard that you can kind of walk through. And there we go. Welcome to the world of Directorist. So you can see that there's a nice little introduction. You can bypass this, but honestly, I would make sure you walk through this at least once. You may want to go through the walkthrough. You may want to come back and change settings, but I'd say start off with a walkthrough. So let's click on Let's Go. And there's only 4 steps here. The recommended pages, I left these as the default. Now you may want to change this. You may want to include categories, locations. I don't see a purpose for putting it on terms and conditions, but I left these, and these are just simply toggle switches that you can just kind of click them and turn them on and off. So we're going to leave these on, and we're going to go ahead and continue. The first thing you get here is a chance to select your map. It includes 2 types. There's OpenStreet, which is something free that you can use, and then there's Google. In order to use Google, you're going to need to have an API key from Google. I want to do another video on how to set that up. It's a bit more involved than what I want to go to here, and I think it kind of takes away from the demonstration, but we'll stick with OpenStreet. Now you'll see this little toggle here for Enable Monetization feature. We can click that. Do you want to monetize by featured listing? And what price do you want to charge? In other words, do you want to charge people a fee to list their business or event or whatever it is? Maybe it's a classified ad. Do you want to charge them a fee to be listed on your directory? I'm going to turn these off for right now, and we'll continue on. There's an option to import dummy data. Now, this is one of the reasons why I recommend that maybe you put this on a test site, or maybe you implement it someplace first before you go for your live implementation. And I do want to import the dummy data, and I want to import images, so we're going to go ahead and click on Continue. And there's only 12 records, so it doesn't take that long to import this. And the last step, you're ready. So you can go ahead and create your first listing, but I'm going to say, let's take a look at the Directorist Dashboard first. And here are the listings that we have. So you can see that we've got them listed down here. There are 12 items. And if you want to take a look at it, let's say, click on View for this one. And this is what's your directory listing. So you're going to have an image right up here. You can change the section title. You can have a favorite of it. You can share this with somebody on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And if it's inappropriate, so for example, if somebody were submitting a record, then you didn't see it, a user can go ahead and report it as inappropriate. And then you can come down here so you can see there's pricing information. You can see how many reviews there have been. You can see if this is a rent. It says in, presume that's Singapore, but that's okay. Holly Cottage, there's just a little bit of text here, and you can put in whatever you want. You can tag this. So it's tagged, I think, as a rental here. If you have a video of it, that's great. And then you can also have a location. This is where the map comes into play. Now, keep in mind, this is dummy data. What you have here is not necessarily going to match the dummy data to whatever the location said was. This one seems to be, because I can see the Singapore River over here. Another one I looked at was showing a map location in the New York or Massachusetts area, basically the United States Northeast, and yet the address was in Los Angeles. Don't worry about the specifics for the dummy data. All it's really doing is showing you what you can provide and what kind of information you can share. So you can have your address, phone, contact information, and all of this stuff you can kind of decide what you want to do or not. And of course, there's contact, so you can get a hold of the people who are renting this place. There's options here for reviews, and then there are related listings. So, and not all of them have photographs, so that's why you're getting like this default image for Directorist logo. But you can see that there are other places that maybe if somebody's looking for a rental, that may be good for them. And there's a little thing here. It's like no reviews found, be the first to post a review. So why don't we go back and edit this listing? I want to show you the back end. So this is where you're going to have your description. This is the old classic editor for WordPress. This is not a Gutenberg editor. I don't know if you can change that or not at this point, but you do see that there are some places where you've got your different toggles. And I've got some over here that not everybody's going to have. This is for LearnDash, this is for Wishlist Member, and this is for Ninja Tables. So if you have plugins that work with the classic editor, you can go ahead and replace this. And then, of course, your SEO stuff. And it's kind of like any other post inside of WordPress. It's just a specific class of post. So for your general section, you can have a tagline. You can change your pricing information over here. Or if you have a range of pricing, you can choose this as well. And then your contact information, you can put all that information over in here. And as far as your map, you can go ahead and decide where it is. So you can see over here where it's listed in Singapore, and then you can put your address over here. So you've got a number of nice little options that you can do, and you can kind of zoom in and zoom out. And if you have photographs that go with it, you can upload a preview image, and then you can upload some others that go on a slider for whatever your advertisement is. And if you have a video, you can put the URL in here. This one is a YouTube video. You can change who owns it. So let's say that Margaret owns this. And of course, this is for Wishlist Member. If in case I wanted to protect that, that's not going to be a circumstance here. It is very simple and very easy to use. Also, notice that you've got categories for your listing. So you can change these or add new categories. So like, are they going to be rentals? Is it going to be a restaurant? Maybe you want to put in events that are happening that you're going to list. Maybe you've got classified ads. And of course, your location. So Singapore, Dubai, Los Angeles, Melbourne, you may have different locations for wherever you want to put something down. If it's a community, let's say like I live in the Central Florida area, obviously Orlando is the most prominent location, but there are a lot of surrounding communities. So it could be Winter Park. It could be Oviedo. It could be maybe further over the coast in Brevard County in Cocoa Beach or Daytona. Depends on how far your area listings go out to, but you can put location data over here. You might be able to do this by neighborhood. So within Orlando, you might put it in the South Downtown. They call it Sodo District. There's another one called the Milk District because there used to be a dairy farm over there. And if you want to do that with your locations, that works as well too. It's really dependent upon what your community understands and what you want to put in here. And you're not limited to just doing a community. You can do listings globally. So as you see the examples over here, they have locations in various parts of the world. So keep in mind, this could be a very specific type of directory thing. Maybe you are into guitars and you want to have listings for people who are selling, different types of guitars, different types of amplifiers. Maybe they're selling accessories or things that go with it. Really, it is a directory listing service. And whatever you can create from directory listings can work in this program. So if we want to go add a new listing, we'll click over here. And you get the same kind of thing. So you can basically put in what your title is going to be, what your text or description is going to be. And as I said, it's Classics Editor. So you've got all these different headings that you can put in here as well. You don't have to just put in a brief paragraph. It can be as detailed as you want to really try and sell or describe the listing that you're putting in. So again, if you have locations, you can change those. Let's close down the rank math. And then we'll get to the listing information. You can do anything you need to. And if you need to hide your contact owner, you notice there's a checkbox here. As I said, maybe you're doing a listing that's not necessarily location-based. So you don't necessarily want to show the person's information if it's not applicable to making the transaction for the listing. You can add your social information. So for example, we'll pull up this list and you can see it's not just Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter. You've got quite a number of different things over here that you can choose to add your social information. And then you just put the URL of whatever your social tab was. Let's say I wanted to put up a rental at Orlando City Hall. So the address is going to be, let me check my notes, 400 South Orange Avenue. And as I'm typing, you see that it comes over here, Orlando City Hall. So it finds it for you, and then it puts it right there on the spot. You can enter the coordinates manually if you want to. You can hide the map if you want to, but let's go ahead and just leave it at that. And I don't have any images or video right now, and I'm going to change this to Luna because Luna sounds a little crazy to me. And then we'll just go ahead and choose the location. Let's add a new location. We're just going to call it Orlando. Notice also that you've got a parent location. So any of these that are up here could be a parent. So when I talked about neighborhoods, maybe I'd put Orlando in here as a new location. And then now let's put in downtown and add Orlando as the parent and add a new location. So you can see that we can check both of them or just check one and make our locations that way. We can do the same thing over here with a rental. We could add a new category, but I'm going to leave that as it is. And I'm going to call this one government. And we'll go ahead and publish. Yes, delete that one. And if you didn't want to add one, you've got this little trash can where you could just go ahead and delete it. So you don't have to put social info. I was a little mistaken since I didn't grab that right away. So let's come back over here, click publish. And let's take a look at our post. It's not going to be very exciting. So there's the default Directorist thing. And you can see that we've got Orlando City Hall on the map here. The tag is for government. We have the address right here and a Facebook page. We can see who it's from. And if you want to contact the listing owner, you can go ahead and put this right in. So on the sidebar, you can see where it says directory listings. This is what you're going to have inside of Directorist. So we can add a new listing. We can see the locations and the categories and the tags. So those are easy if you just want to kind of do those in bulk over here. The directory builder is kind of an interesting little thing. So you can set up your icons. You can set your listing status. Is it pending or is it publish? Probably if somebody's submitting something, you may want to put it in pending so you can review it. If you've got a very busy site, you trust people and you just want to let them publish right away, then you've got that option as well. Do you want to have directory listings expire? This one gives it basically 1 year, 365 days. And then you can update that. And you can see that we've got a number of different options as we go along over here. So if we look at our form fields, what active fields do you want and what available fields are there? So you may want to put in some more stuff as far as a URL, date, time, colors, checkboxes, radio. Is there a file attachment that will go along with it? Depending on the type of listing that you have, you may need this. So for example, the guitar listing I mentioned, maybe you've got photos, maybe you've got video, but what if you want to put up an audio? You can put a file upload and say, take a listen to this as me playing the guitar. So you get a chance to understand some of the different sounds that you can make with it. So the same thing with, you've got your different sections as far as your general section, your contact information, and you can delete something. If you don't have a fax, which these days a lot of people don't anymore, you can just go ahead and delete that off of there. And if you don't have a second phone, you can delete that off of there as well. You can change your map info or your images and video, and then save it when you're done. If we come over here to settings, you can see, do you want terms and conditions? Look, I'm someone who likes to protect myself with legal information, so I definitely have terms and conditions on all of my sites. And then you can just say, here's what's required, and say, I agree with all terms and conditions. Same thing with a privacy policy. And if you haven't seen, I've got a free privacy policy available to you. Go to suburbiapress.com/free privacy, and you'll be able to get that. Submission settings, save and preview. And is this a guest listing? Are you going to allow guests to post up or not? So let's go over to take a look at a single page layout. again, you can kind of change how this looks. You've got these different little things. If you don't want these fields in here, you can delete them. You can move them. Let's say if I want this to be over here, you can just move this around. You can change the contents. And then you have the other settings. So you can kind of toggle whether this is on or off. Do you want to show listings from the same author? In other words, if you find a real estate agent that has listings that you like, or maybe you want to work with them, you click this listings from the same author, you'll find that same real estate agent. Or back to my guitar example, maybe someone's got a guitar store and they're selling a lot of stuff. You might want to find them and what else do they have at this store. And you can say number of listings over here. And do you want to create a custom single page? So there's a lot of options over here on the single page layout. And then all listings, again, you can go ahead and kind of move things around over here as to how you want them to look. Do you want to show things that are popular, your favorites, your featured new items, or just something on the bottom right with an image preview, without an image preview? So some of those examples that I gave you that didn't have an image preview, if you've got a lot that don't have an image preview, maybe you just want to toggle the master listing so that it doesn't show up that way. And then you've got this all listing list layout. Again, you can just toggle a few changes and move some things around or decide if you do or don't want something. A directory page without a search is not going to do you that much good. You want people to be able to find the things that you're listing. So the search forms, again, you can customize those as well as you can the pages that you're listing. So you can see what you can search for, basic search bar, category, location. Is it going to be a price or within a range? Do they have reviews that go with it? A radius search. In other words, is it going to be 25, 50 miles from a given location? And same thing within a zip or a postal code and other information down here. So that's kind of nice. And as usual, if it doesn't matter, get rid of it. Too much information tends to confuse people. So you've got all these options to build how the directory is going to work. If you come over to your settings, and I think there's a bit more here that I'm going to go through on an introductory video, but notice that even for just what we have with our general, it's like, do you want a multi-directory? Where do you want to get your fonts? You've got a couple of options there. Can users renew listing? Let's say that maybe the rental is something that's going to be ongoing. So somebody rents it, the 365-day period passes, but they want to keep on renting it. You want to allow them to renew it. For example, if it's a guitar and it did not sell, then you want to be able to renew that. And you can send notices to the people who are submitting these things. When do they expire? So like 7 days before it expires, you send them a notice that gives them a week to come back and determine, do I want to renew? Do I want to change anything in here? Do I want to change my price? There's so many options over here. So you can send a notice for an expire, send a renewal reminder, and of course you can change these as a number of days. And once they expire, do you want to delete them or trash them, or do you want to hold on to them? You've got a notice over here that after they after they expire, you wait a couple of weeks before you actually delete it. And then you just move it to trash. You can decide if you want to empty that trash later on. Do you want to display the author email only for logged in users? Do you want to hide it? So many options, and you can really configure this to work the way that you want to work. And for each of these options, just in the listings area, you can see that there are plenty of selections. If we come down here to page setup, you can also make your changes over here as far as if you're going to add a page listing, where you're going to go. And they've got the default set kind of where you want them to. These are other pages that are on the site. You may not call it the same thing. So these all listings are created as you import this and activate this tool. So it's going to create some pages for you. And you can also use a shortcode over here if you want to put this on another page. And we'll just go right on down the list. So for each one, they've got a page. Now, if you've got some here that don't have anything where it says select, then you can choose what's here. Perhaps it didn't create something for you, but then you can still use, when you click on this, you notice it says copy to clipboard. So it's right there if you need to use it. And then for your privacy policy page, if you want to have people click that, then you need to have your privacy policy. On this side, I don't, but I've got my terms of service. At least I don't think I do, because this is a demo site. I don't believe I created up over here. On my public facing sites, yep, I do have them. So you can select what's there, and then just be sure to make sure you save changes when you've made your options over here. Monetization starts right here with a single click. Turn this on, and then you can decide what kind of monetization do you want. Now, this is where you're going to find that they have extensions. You can find this plugin in the WordPress repository, but when you want to start doing things, you're going to need to go buy some extensions. So there is a pricing plans extension. If you want to feed your listing, you can go ahead and click this and turn it on. And then you can say, what's my featured listing? Put it over here. What's my price? And how long is it going to be your featured listing? Payment gateways would be things like, are you using PayPal, for example, is probably the most common payment gateway. Authenticate.net is another one. And you've got a few different ones. So if you want to do a bank transfer, that's the default. And this is where you're going to be able to, again, look for the extensions if you want to add other payment processors, including PayPal. And then there's offline gateways, which in case you're doing your payments outside of, or basically not on your site. So for personalization, you can choose the template that you're going to use, choose how wide it's going to be, what your padding and margining is going to be. You can set your own colors. So it'll come like most plugins do with a default set of colors. If you have your own branding colors, you can go ahead and change those right here. You can change the button type. You can change your listings map marker. Maybe you want to make it green, or maybe you want to make it red, something that stands out off of the map. And then, of course, your primary background color and border colors. The extensions, you can click over here to check out awesome extensions. So I'm not going to add on here, but let's take a look. If you want to offer coupons, there are themes, services, compare listings, ranking features, listings with map, pricing plans, WooCommerce pricing plans. There's the PayPal payment gateway that we spoke about, Stripe. Do you want to make listings and let owners claim their listing? Well, when they claim it, it's like maybe there's a fee for claiming that listing. You want to mark something as sold? Do you want to allow social login, Google reCAPTCHA, and business hours? There's a number of different things that you can add over here, even doing booking if you want to do live chat. Basically, this is a business in a box. You get WordPress, you install Directorist, and you can start working on different types of themes. I use BuddyBoss on some of my sites, so you can integrate it with BuddyBoss. That also gives you access to have groups and forums for people can discuss things, which would be really helpful for a travel site. And then, of course, it works with some of the different page builders. So this one is for Oxygen. I mentioned authorize.net, so there's another one. I think I called it Authenticate, but I meant authorize.net. We come over here to help and support. So you can see information about your site in case you need to share that with the support team. You can give them information, how many active plugins that you have. Are there any warnings? If you need to allow remote viewing for the support team to come and take a look at your site, there's a place over here. And of course, you can send an email to the support team. If I've got a problem, I've got a question, you can just get to them directly there. So that is, as I said, kind of an overview of an introduction to Directorist. I think this is really got a lot of opportunities here. So you can just build your entire business off of directory services for a location, for a topic, for events, for things that you want to sell, for user-provided information. You could build your own Yelp service off of this if you wanted to. So that's, like I said, a quick look. I will be going and doing some more deep dive videos on this. I want to do something that shows you how to create a Google Maps API, and then we'll take a look at something more specific about building how this is going to work for you and how you can build your business based off of Directory. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me. I hope this was helpful for you. Maybe gives you some ideas of other ways that you can monetize your site. If you like this video, please go ahead and click the like button. That tells YouTube overlords that we did something right, and they will share this with more people. Subscribe. We will have more interesting ideas of how you can build your business with WordPress and different tools. And please click the little bell notification icon to be notified the next time I put a video out. Also, don't forget, I have a free giveaway. You can go to suburbiapress.com/welcome. It's 5 great resources for WordPress sites. And it'll show you some things to help you optimize the speed and performance of your WordPress site. So if that's of interest to you, please go and visit suburbiapress.com/welcome. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.